basically the first time or second time we interviewed you was just when the crisis started, 2008, 2009.
Yes.
And we asked you then that, you were coming from more of an anarchist cycle into more of an organized political point of view. But now we've seen the revolutions in the Middle East, we've seen the Occupy movement in America. So what are your views on that? And do you feel like you still need to organize?
I think that, I'm a firm believer that organizing is the only way. I think that the violence, the people in power always have more ability for violence than the population does. And organizing mass groups of people is the only way we have power. And we don't have to do anything with those groups of people, we just have to put them into one place. And if you get 2 million people in one place, you're going to make political change happen. So that's all about organizing. Once it goes to violence, we see what happened in Syria, and you just start an armed revolution, and then everything goes to shit. So organizing and bringing people together in a non-violent way is always the way for social change.
Well, I guess we've seen on your last CD, we see songs about general strike and so.
Yes.
Do you think that's possible for America? Do you see?
I think that we have a history 100 years ago of a lot of strike history. Yeah. In the last 100 years, not so much. But I think that if things get bad, I think that we will move into that, because I think a general strike is really one of the most effective power tools for the grassroots population to affect change. If you withdraw work, the people in power get very afraid.
Do you think there's a future for the Occupy movement? Because we see the American elections coming up now, and we, as the Left Socialist Party in Belgium, are very much against what we call traditional parties. And obviously in America you only have two. Yeah. So do you see a future for the Occupy movement as something separate, something that doesn't follow political lines, doesn't support Obama, just to support Obama?
I think that the Occupy movement is just a link in the chain of change. I don't think that the Occupy movement is a one-time thing that's going to have complete social change, but I think that it is another step in that process. And I think we all want things to change so badly that we're like, okay, this is the thing that's going to do it. But it's not one thing that does it. It's the building of over time of a lot of separate movements that come together to really make change.
Well, here in Belgium, we only have the normal newspaper following news in America. Do you think that's? I mean, is it a national feeling? Because when you hear about the Occupy movement, it's all about Washington. Is it something national?
No, for sure. Some of the most powerful Occupy movements were in Berkeley, California. So and actually the interesting thing, we've been touring this last whole year, and we were in Indonesia and Kuala Lumpur, and they both had Occupy movements. So it's not just a New York thing. There are people all over in all the small towns across the U.S. and all over the world who are occupying private and public spaces to say that they're frustrated with the way things are and they think that things should change.
So I'm guessing that while you're touring, you're noticing quite a lot of support for you. Yeah. Because it is a new direction.
Not support for me, but support for change. Everybody is looking for something better.
Well, I guess support for your lyrics, because you have gone through more organized.
I don't think it's support for our lyrics. I think that it's a continuum. I think that we create music and art, and I'm not say we, I'm meaning left activists. We create and inspires people to go out into the streets and to do things, and then they inspire us to create more, and I think it's a cycle and a circle. I don't think it's one thing is creating anything else. But one of the things that I'm always asked is, can music really have social change? And everybody says, no, music doesn't have an impact, but if you look at every social movement, there's a soundtrack to it, and you only see that from hindsight in the future. So when people ask you, is the music important, the music is very important. And I'll leave you with that.
Basically, in 20 years' time from now, you want people to say anti-flag.
No, I don't know.
I
don't believe that. I don't believe that, but I do believe that in 20 years from now, there will be a soundtrack. And we'll all be like, that was the band that was really saying something.
That sounds great. Thanks.